have this desire for other people to view them the way that I view them, to feel valid in my decisions in my life of where we're at now. Oh no, sushi. I love the comments and kind of the conversation that we've been having recently just around motherhood. And as a woman, you guys know that like my channel is really, and all of my content is really about self-love and wellness and creating a life you love, being someone you love, tapping into your inner goddess to really unapologetically create your dream life, create a life you love, you could say. And as I've become a mother, it really has instilled this deep gratitude for myself of all of the work that I have done over the past like 7 years. Just even viewing myself as the early 20-year-old making videos and feeling so deeply the need to have a connection to myself and have a deeper meaning in my own life with self has really transformed my life as a mother. And it feels as if I did all of that work then to be who I am now, to be the safe space for my daughter. And it breaks my heart when I see other people commenting on my videos or commenting on TikTok about how they don't want to be a mother because of the upbringing that they did have. And the greatest gift that I ever gave myself was freeing myself and my inner child from who raised me, whether it is my dad and my stepmom, but also my mother, who I love them all deeply in their own way, and forgiving them was not easy, but it felt more freeing to free myself of them than try and like figure out every reason or, you know, rhyme a reason of why they treated me the way that they did. And really to know of looking at the information, if we know that we deserve better, we know that we don't want to make a child feel how we felt. Well, if that's just information to take aligned action, can I look at the situation of, I know that I deserve better, so can I treat myself better now? I see so often that so many of us get really stuck in our own stories and stuck in our own loop of what a good girl would do, what a good mother would do, what a good partner would do. And I want to remind you that you get to write your own story. I don't know who needs to hear it, but one of the most freeing things, one of the freest like realizations I ever had was that like I'm the adult now. Like, I'm the adult now. I can stand up for myself. I can speak up. I grew up in a house where, like, my voice wasn't valid and you weren't allowed to talk back, but really that meant you can't have an opinion. There's no conversation. There's no hearing the other person out and kind of feeling as if your feelings are pushed down. And then to grow up and be an adult and to still feel that sort of energy. I was still living in that pattern. I was still holding that energy myself, reliving this story time and time again. And I don't know who needs to hear it, but like, you're the adult now. You're the adult now. And a lot of people talk about inner child healing, but there's also like your inner teenager, who a lot of us probably felt really suppressed, and a lot of us probably felt really pushed down, and like our feelings didn't matter, our voice didn't matter. It was all these rules that we were kind of following and living by. And I welcome you and I invite you to, with this part of yourself that feels the need to almost be rebellious, to love yourself enough to say it's okay. Like, you don't have to fight back anything. And you know, that's been something kind of even in my partnership of reminding each other that we're on the same team. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm simply here holding a conversation. I think back to when people really gave me a lot of shit online about, you're always talking about healing. Like, what are you healing from? Like, you're always talking about healing. And yeah, I hope you never make the assumption that your journey of healing is ever really going to be done, because you're going to face a trigger probably every day, at least if not a couple times a week. And the true healing comes when you can look at situations differently and take your power back and be empowered by your own life. When I decided to really grow up, for lack of a better term, and remember that, like, I'm the adult. I am the adult. Like, there is nothing that really anyone can do to say or hurt me or shut me down. And when you're in those situations of you're feeling shut down, you're feeling maybe controlled, or you're feeling that trigger of bringing those things up, it's a beautiful moment to actually do the healing of, this person's on my team, this person's on my side. And if that does not feel true, where can you take a moment to pause and look at the relationships and the connections around you? Because I found as a mother that a lot of the time we felt like we couldn't stand up for ourselves as children. We felt like we didn't have a voice. So now we almost lash out with our children now, whether it be grandparents, great-grandparents, you know, family members, that sort of arena. We felt like we had no say. So now that we are in charge, we almost like lash out and use it as a tool to weaponize against them. And so that's just felt really potent and true to speak on too, of like knowing that your community does want to support you. The people around you do want to support you, but is there a level of you that still has to forgive these people? I think a lot of people know that I grew up with a very not so traditional upbringing. And my mom has since passed away. And trying to heal your inner child when your mother was a big part of that. And here's the other thing too, like my parents were both, not to blame, but they both had their own part, right? They both had a deep, deep part in my wounding. And to look at it in the sense of, I have a mother who has passed, and so to do that healing work without her present, and then to have a father who, it almost has always felt like I have to be the bigger person. I have to be the adult. And he has, you know, his own life now that he lives, and I hope that he's happy, and I hope the decisions that he's made feel fulfilling for him. That is all I want, for my father to feel fulfilled, to feel happy, to feel seen, to feel safe, to be happy. And, you know, really thinking about it in the way of, in my ideal world, of course, I would have a relationship with him, and I keep it polite, I keep it nice. I fill him in on when I got engaged. I was the one who told him. When I was pregnant, I'm the one who told him. When Lila came, I told him, and I sent him photos, and that includes for parts of my dad's family. Like, you know, there's been deaths in my family since obviously over 10 years ago. And so, you know, I have extended olive branches, and I think it's sometimes tricky, right? Like there's no yes or no answer, but I think the best answer of all is knowing that you don't need anyone else's apology to move forward with your own story. I don't need anyone else's apology to move forward with my own story, and that is not the case for all the parties involved. And I know personally, with me, the most freeing thing in my life was, again, not only to own and honor that I'm the adult now, but also to own and honor that as little Marissa, as a 16-year-old girl, freshly 16, having to make this big decision to leave. Like now being 29 years old and realizing that my senior year of high school, my life was so hard and so bad and like so toxic. I gave up everything to leave. I gave up everything. And like, you know, when you're a teenager, your friends are like your whole life. School is like your whole life. Everything you have is like in your social relationships. And I was willing to give it all up to leave. And that is unfortunately not the way that some people see it, that, you know, my dad sees it. And I have nothing but compassion for him. I have so much compassion, because to really think about what it would take to give up my daughter for someone else, like that's too much for me. And, you know, certain people in my family have, I have a very small family. I make it sound like it's a lot of people. It's literally a handful of people, but, the story that other people hold is that I just left, that I abandoned them. And I don't ever want them to feel that way. I didn't abandon you, but I had to choose myself. I had to choose myself. I had to want more for my life. And I had to desire a situation that did not have me questioning my value in the world every day. And so I know a lot of people like and resonate and connect with when I talk about my childhood, but I hope your takeaway is that that doesn't have to be your whole story. That doesn't have to be your whole story. And there was healing work that had to happen with my mom's parents, my grandparents, who, you know, I came to and I moved in with, and there had to be healing work there, and it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows and things like that. And the older I get, the more work that is required, but it's always worth it. You know, when you like take a last bite and you weren't like mentally prepared to be done with your food, that's what just happened to me. That's what just happened to me. But I know that a lot of people connect with my story, and I hope you also connect with the triumph. I hope you also connect with the piece of it, the piece of me that chose more, that chose better, that chose the mindset and the thought process and the outcome that I don't have to be my mother. That is something that people always weaponize against me, whether it's my father, whether it was my, you know, my dad's girlfriend at the time. People love to weaponize my mother against me, and my mom did the best she could with what she had. And I feel the same way for my father, and I feel the same way with my stepmother. And even though each individual person required their own level of forgiveness and healing, and some people it's still a daily action of forgiveness, I know that our relationship now does not have to be like the relationship that we'll have in the future. And I think knowing at the end of the day that when you focus on your own freedom in your heart of releasing these people who have hurt you the most, and not releasing them in the way of I'm never talking to them, I'm cutting them off, I'm done 100%. I have always reached out to my family. I have always reached out to my family, and I'm sure that that's a piece of the story that they don't want to recognize. And I pray that anyone else in this situation, especially becoming a mother or as a mother, and just a woman in this world, to know that like you are deserving of feeling whole. You are deserving of forgiving the people who hurt you the most. And also in this day and age, like we need our community, we need our village, we need our people. And it always is hard when, and this goes for like my dad's generation a bit too, of like, we think that we're very healed. We think that, you know, we're very emotionally aware, but in all actuality, I find that my generation just cuts people out and wants to be done with them and doesn't want to actually hold the conversation for ancestral healing. And then my father's generation is in the sense of taking no accountability, taking no, you know, really weight of it on, because it's hard to hear. It is hard to hear, but I hope that you also hold value in the sense of they did the best that they could. What they did was not right. You did deserve better. You do deserve better. You do deserve better. But that starts with us treating ourselves better. That starts with us showing up better for us, not just requiring this expansiveness, this apology, this love from everyone else when we're not even giving it to ourselves. And part of the reason we're not giving it to ourselves is because we don't feel worthy from the people who brought us into this world. And to know that you're the adult now. You are the adult now. And I want to own too that like that's scary sometimes. It's scary to, you know, be like, holy shit, like I am the one, you know, like my grandmother is my lifeline. She is who I call with questions. She's who, like, you know, I learned how to adult from almost. And to know that like I'm going to need to be that person, instead of feeling overwhelmed, I'm knowing that I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be prepared. And you know, it wasn't easy with the whole family to, you know, mend certain pieces, mend certain relationships. And I want to remind you too that like whenever you see someone who's not sharing about something, for example, I don't share a lot also because like They're their own people. They did not sign up for this. I am the one who is online, not my partner, not my, you know, extended family, not anyone else's family. And this is me. This is my piece. So I hope you take some value from this. Know that I love you. Know that you are so seen and so loved and so safe. Sometimes the greatest step one, you guys, is simply being open to feeling lighter. To being open to feeling lighter. We carry around these stories and this weight of who other people told us we should be, what other people told us we should do. We carry around what other people did to us, what other people said to us. And I want to remind you that you don't have to carry it. You don't have to carry it. You get to create a life on your own terms, and you get to move forward. The story is up to us, and it is a process. It does take time. There are high moments and low moments, and it's worth all of it.